Fixing the New York Jets wide receiver room in 3 easy steps. Let's do this. Step number 1, assume absolutely nothing from wide receiver Denzel Mims. Balled out at Baylor, flashed as a rookie, fans were excited. Last year, disappointment, only 8 catches. You know the story, dealt with food poisoning, had COVID, also fell out of favor with the coaching staff, didn't learn the playbook, work ethic concerns. So what do? Am I going to cut him? No. I'm not going to cut a player who's barely affecting our cap. Am I going to trade him? No. I'm not going to trade a player at their lowest possible value. Joe Douglas says he's attacking the offseason. Great. We're going to bring him into camp, hope for the best, but we cannot bank on Denzel Mims being a major part of our offense next season. That's step number 1. Assume nothing from Denzel Mims. Step number 2. We need to add some depth. We can't assume anything from Denzel Mims. There's only 3 guys we can rely on the roster when they're healthy. That's Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, and Braxton Berrios. We need another proven pro to add to this wide receiver room before the draft. Here's the kind of player I'm looking to bring in. I want to bring in a veteran on a 1-year deal who can be had for about $5 million. Someone with modest production last year, at least 350 yards and a touchdown. They also need to be able to play outside receiver. We already have 2 slot guys. So this is somebody who can come in, be our wide receiver 4 or 5, and if you had to start them, it'd be an upgrade over DJ Montgomery, Jeff Smith, or Tariq Black, with all due respect. There are 3 players that I think could fit this mold for the Jets. Number 1 is a familiar name. That's Keelan Cole. Now, it was a bit of a disappointment last year. The Jets paid him over $6 million, assuming he'd have a bigger role in the offense, but it just never clicked and he struggled with some drops. However, he did post 449 receiving yards and a touchdown last year, and he already knows the offense. He already knows the quarterback. Another player who can come in and fit this role would be wide receiver Zach Pascal of the Indianapolis Colts, a bigger receiver, 6'2", 215 pounds, had 38 catches for 348 yards last year for 3 touchdowns. And third on my list, who I actually think is the best player, but I'm not sure they want to be a part of a rebuild, that's Emmanuel Sanders, who is on the older side, 35 plus, but he did post 42 catches for 626 yards and 4 touchdowns with the Buffalo Bills last season. Step number 2 is complete. Sign a veteran. The third and final step, now that we have some depth, but we're looking at those names, are any one of them a legitimate wide receiver 1? I don't know. Let's make sure we get one. Let's do it with the 10th pick of the NFL draft. Now, lots of debate on who's the top guy, but Vegas has Garrett Wilson and Drake London being the first 2 receivers off the board, and it's highly unlikely that both of those guys are gone before 10. So take whichever one is there. If both of them are there, great. I'm going to trust Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh's eyes on whichever wide receiver they like best. Garrett Wilson would be my pick. He has a similar skill set to Elijah Moore, has the yak ability, a really good athlete, and he's 2 inches taller and has 15 pounds on Elijah Moore. So think a bigger Elijah Moore. Drake London, speaking of size, insane catch radius, 6'4", long arms, red zone, back shoulder throws, 50-50 balls. So in my opinion, Wilson's a better player, but I think you could make an argument that Drake London would be a better fit for the Jets because he's bringing our offense something we don't have with that big-bodied receiver, something we haven't really had since we brought in Brandon Marshall. So if we do all those 3 things, assume nothing from Denzel Mims, add a veteran pronto, and then take Garrett Wilson or Drake London with the 10th pick in the NFL draft, here's what our wide receiver room would shape out to be. We would have Drake London and Corey Davis on the outside, Elijah Moore in the slot, Braxton Berrios and a Keelan Cole for depth, and then Denzel Mims, a 6'3", 4.4 40-yard dash running wild card to round out the wide receiver room. We just fixed the Jets wide receiver room in 3 easy steps. Thank you for watching, and go Jets.